Hey, I'm Duke on Twitch. If you want to support the channel and greensunzenith.com, you can find my Patreon, merch store, and singles store where you can buy singles through TCG Player or Card Hoarder in the video description. If you want to get in contact, you can also find all that info in the description below for things like donation deck lists or just wanting to reach out. Alright, let's get right into it. Hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. A big thank you to Ravenous Panda. 18 months subbing is very cool. A huge thank you. That's really nice. Hope you had a nice sesh. I'm currently just finishing off this deck, but this is challenge number 4 out of 5. So I've got 2 tries left to get a trophy with BANT Mav. We've played some different variants, and this is based off a version run by Magthrock. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. They actually gave me a lot of pointers for the deck in Discord, so a huge thank you. This is a pretty sweet version. The core of the deck is similar to theirs. They're playing cards like Hex Drinker, which I think is actually pretty cool with the 4 Mother of Runes builds. I think that's really strong. I'm playing both Questing Beast and Hex Drinker, and the way I actually did that was actually cut a Knight, which I have been doing a lot of recently. I actually removed the Knight because of the second row as kind of that same sort of position where we're trying to beat down and have some sort of land advantage. And then the one thing that I like as well is 1 Jide. Just as like a sweeper effect, you don't often have those in BANT unless you're playing something like Engineered Explosives. So Jide is just a one-off is really nice. We're not running a Stoneforged Mystic package, so we're not going to see it too often, but I'm sure that when we do, it's going to be pretty nice. So I'm just going to quickly update the deck on Cardboard Live. A huge shout out to Cardboard Live as well. Probably one of the best extensions for Magic streamers, period. It's probably why I believe the Pro Tour picked it up, which is very, very cool. So yeah, shout out to James. Also, Humans Magic Podcast, of course. What can't that guy do? Especially those who follow him on Twitter. You'll see how far he runs as well. So, James, big fan. Okay. This is... Yeah, I wanted to play some Planeswalkers as well for some of the sort of BANT matchups. We're not running Choke, which Mag did. Even though they're running the Trops and Tundras, just went for it and obviously did pretty well out of it. They did 5-0 with the list, so pretty cool to see. But yeah, I wanted to run Nissa and Wandering Emperor. I think they're both pretty powerful Planeswalkers, pretty hard to deal with, so pretty cool to see that. Gaddock Teeg, mainly for Elves, but also for a lot of the combo deck, or the control decks now playing Supreme Verdict or Terminus, so don't mind that. And then Mag was playing 4 Ley Lines of the Void in the sideboard. I've opted for 3 Endurance, and then use the extra slot for Part 2 Exile. They were also running Aethersworn Canonist. I've gone for Teeg in that sort of slot because of Green Sun Zenith and my ability to actually see it in the early game, hopefully against the decks where I want it, things like Elves, any sort of Ant or Storm variants. I don't mind it against Control. A little bit of an oboe with our own Green Suns and our own Walkers, but typically pretty strong, so... Any spoilers that have caught my eye for Maverick? No, not yet. Hopefully something that at least... yes. The new Gruul Planeswalker I think is pretty sweet for a punishing Mav deck, especially seeing that it comes down turn 4, potentially turn 3, and also gives haste to creatures. Where are we? I'll find it. Unless I've already gone past it. Maybe I did. Unless it was from a secondary set. That's interesting. It was the Gruul Planeswalker. When it comes down, I think you can either throw a creature, or you can attack with haste from creatures that you create. I'm gonna quickly find it. 1 second. I believe it was in the Maverick Discord. General. Yes. Panda, you are correct. this card. So it's a 4-mana walker, comes in with 3 loyalty. When it enters the battlefield and at the beginning of your upkeep, you may create Boo, a legendary 1/1 creature token with trample and haste. And then straight away you can give it 3 +1/+1 counters. So you can pretty much make it a 4/4 with haste straight away. The little bit of an issue here is that there's kind of an ETB on a Planeswalker, which I don't believe has been printed yet, which means it can be responded to. So if your opponent has Lightning Bolt, they actually can kill Minsk before you actually get to tick it up, which is pretty tough. I guess before you can even use it. But I think it's a pretty strong card. I think it's a nice way to kind of attack on multiple axes and be able to sack a big creature to get through. Like, you know, if your opponent has like a Murktide, you have like a 12/12 Knight or something, or maybe like a 7/7 Knight, they have like an 8 Murktide. And anyway, it looks really cool. I think as like a 2 of, it'd be pretty sweet. I really like it. All right, let's play some Maverick. That's what we're here for. The only other change was I went up to an extra Noble Hierarch over the 4th Thalia. I'm a huge fan of having 9 ways to accelerate on turn 1, especially in this deck where you do have a really good high number of 3-drops. And you also have Hex Drinker to kind of pump the mana into if you don't run into anything else. So that's pretty cool. Whew, all right. Play points, gameplay. Nice. Look forward to the Grixis Vampire Legend for Reanimator. Interesting. There's also the Kess-like enchantment that is Grixis colors that looks pretty interesting. I think it's like in each of your turns, you get an instant or sorcery in the graveyard that now has like flashback, or you can cast it or something like that. Very, very cool to see. But yeah, new set, new life. All right. We are on the play against Stutch. I think this is a pretty good hand. So the Noble Hierarch is currently our only white source, but turn 2 Library, if the Noble doesn't resolve, is going to be pretty sweet. So pretty happy to keep this. Hey Joe, so glad you could make it. Maverick Joe is of course the player, the legend, who has given me this challenge to take BANT, to fight fair, and to hopefully come out on top. Mountain. Okay. Bolt. Okay. Well, hopefully this isn't burn, but I guess we'll see in good time. This could also be like Blue-Red Delver that's just started on a mountain, but mountain typically not seen as much these days, especially with days. If we see a second mountain, I think we can safely say it's going to be burn. Cool choice in basics though. Oh, there's the Volk. Okay. Brazen Borrower. Interesting. Okay. That's really interesting. That makes me think that they are Blue-Red Delver, and they have a hand that doesn't have a threat, and therefore we're in a position where we can actually library pretty aggressively. I think I am going to Wasteland first, and then play the library again, because I don't want them to be able to daze, I guess. Interesting spot. I could play Wasteland and then play library and see if they want to daze. If they want to daze, they can. They're pretty far behind then. But at the same time, the Wasteland up isn't doing much. I kind of like taking them off the Volk here. Playing Wasteland and then going for library. Force. Okay, pitching Ponder. My only thought here is there is a world where playing Bird is correct, because then we could get Wastelanded out here. Yep. Tough. Oh, okay. We're doing one of these ones. Nice. Now it's an interesting spot. I think playing Bird here is better than holding up Scrib, just to get that white mana online. The old Chain Lightning the Bird. Obviously a very well-known Magic reference. Chain Lightning the Bird. Okay. Yeah, so there's a cool like situation there with Chain Lightning where you can return it for double red. And if we have Birds of Paradise online, we can actually produce double red thanks to Scrib Ranger by untapping it and creating another red mana, which is pretty cool. Another chain. Oof. They chose not to shuffle either, which is kind of scary. I honestly think here I just want to take out the Volk to keep them off Murktide. And seeing our plan is pretty low to the ground for the next few turns, just trying to get that white mana online. I don't mind kind of getting further away from casting the Knight. Yikes. Hey Jerry. Definitely not the start we wanted, but tough. Jerry, I 100% know what that feels like. That makes me feel really calm as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, tough. Especially to lose game 1 against Delver. Definitely not where I want to be. But sometimes it doesn't work out. Yeah. Tough. 12 turns. Alright. Beast. Oof. I am going to try keeping in the one library. And it's because I am going to be bringing in so much removal that a lot of the time in games 2 and 3 against Delver, I'm trading one-on-one with creatures, which is fantastic. But then I just run out of gas and they cast something like a Murktide and I just don't have anything. So I think keeping in the library, or at least one post board, isn't that bad. It's obvious, but it's tough because then Devil's Advocate is, you know, your opponent plays, you know, you keep a hand that doesn't have removal, maybe it's just a really solid hand, and they play like, you know, turn 1 threat, turn 2 threat, and then you draw a library in the mid to late game and it just does nothing. It allows you to extend your hand to find something like Swords or Path, but I think maybe there is a case, and because I am talking about this, I think maybe it's just a worse case of like the upside of being ahead and keeping them off threats. You're probably going to be winning anyway. Definitely tough. Liberator can come out. It might be Hex Drinker. We saw Chain as well, but I guess Chain only deals... Just because of the Submerge, I think it's just a little bit rough. I'm pretty happy with this. Path, Prismatic End, and Source Plushes. Jide is fantastic. Knights are still great. Yeah. End the Festivities is the card that I really don't want to see post-board. We had a game yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, where I think turn 1 was Noble Hierarch, and then turn 2 was like Scrib Ranger, untap Noble, return land, play a Dryad Arbor for turn, play Mother of Runes, pass. I had 4 1/1s and they went untap and just ended. And I was like, yikes. But yeah, like, if we can get the mana going, then we should be fine. Like, to have Uros in the deck is really nice. A fair amount of removal. The Endurances do a lot of work, not only turning off Murktide, but also blocking a large amount of their creature base. Including Brazen Burrower, which is really cool. An interesting hand. This is the tough one, because this is a nice hand, but the mana isn't really there. But I think I can't not keep this, and I think it's just going to be Mum of Karakas pass. It's tough because I could go Windswept for Savannah into Mum, and then next turn, if we draw another forest land, I can then hold up Scrib Ranger. But otherwise, if I go turn 1 Karakas pass, and then turn 2 Windswept Heath pass with Scrib Ranger open, if they wasteland the Karakas, I can't save it with Scrib Ranger. So the upside of going with Windswept Heath first is that if we draw into another fetch land, dual land, or basic, I then most likely have another land that is wasteland proof, which kind of puts me in a pretty good position. But it all depends, because if we go turn 1 Mum and they don't answer it, they either play a threat or they ponder. And then if we untap, I don't think they're in a position where they can wasteland, because we have Swords for the threat, and if they've pondered, I don't think turn 2 they can do like wasteland threat. Potentially, maybe. I think I'm happy to go with this line. Getting Savannah, playing Mum. Oh, they just wasteland me. Okay. I guess that's the world where we start with Karakas. Hopefully this wasteland line doesn't work out for them, but you never know. Like 2 Mums is going to be pretty hard to beat, unless they have exactly like Volk into End the Festivities. Sure. Chose to not shuffle. we can untap, we're looking okay. We get Scrib Ranger in play, we then get Endurance into play if we want. The tough thing here is that End the Festivities most likely answers both mums because we probably just keep the mana around. Nothing. Okay. That's interesting. I think we just pass. With our Scrib Ranger open. That means if they end, they also have to have Daze or Force. Bolt me. They're most likely going for Murktide here. Which makes me want to play Scrib Ranger in response to Murktide. Really weird game. Triple Wasteland start. So the question here is how good is the Scrib Ranger? And if it's really good, there's a world where actually I just swords the Murktide here to play around Daze, try to draw land, and then we have Scrib Ranger around Daze as well. I think I like that line. Maybe even try to draw out a Force. I wouldn't mind that. Okay, and they pitch a Daze, so it's pretty good for us. Hooray. I think now I go for the Scrib. Oh, it resolves. A little bit awkward with returning the Dryad Arbor because then it's not online, but I think here I just pass. Like, the Scrib Ranger right now is just an answer to the Murktide anyway, that I don't need to untap and use the swords. The Scrib Ranger also allows me to give Mum protection an additional time and save the Dryad Arbor. So an End the Festivities would only trade 1-for-1 with the creature, which is pretty nice. Untap Noble was free. I could replay the Dryad Arbor. DRC's okay. Graph Cage. Okay. Still going to attack? No. Alright. This is where we go draw Green Suns, right? Like, that's just how it works. They have one card left. We can make 3 mana, which is kind of cool. 1, 2. Untap this, return this. Play this. Erode. Nice. I mean, that's just a land, which is nice. Hey, Gizlo, welcome. Very cool to see you, and thank you very much. That's so kind. I'm not going to attack here, but I am going to upkeep Swords the Dragonridge Channeler. They're going to bolt. What are they going to bolt? Me. Okay. Let's... Actually, I don't think I need to use the Swords just yet. I think just to play around end festivities, I'm going to Swords in end step. Okay. Unless I want the mana around, that's always tough. Yeah, I'm actually happy just to untap here. We drew a land, chat. We drew a land. Oh my gosh. Two, 3, 4, 5 mana. So we can play Endurance and also Sword, which is pretty sweet. Thanks, Graham. Hopefully see you at Melbourne Eternal Weekend. That'll be really fun. Just pass. Yeah, there's a good... I'm going to say, like, I would say there's 10 definites, because we've got a house of about 10 beds, and it's booked. So at least 10, which is pretty cool. Oh, I kind of forgot this makes the Murktide bigger, but that's fine. Like we've got that covered. Now we can just hold up Endurance and Sword, which is pretty sweet. What's this gonna be? Petty theft. On this. We're still in main, so I can float white, untap this, return this, and then just give pro blue first, and then I can give pro red, so it just gets through. So pro blue means petty theft just dissolves, which is kind of cool. And now we can actually give pro red. Play another mum. Play a Savannah. Attack for 4. I don't think I need to play the Thalia, but maybe there's a world where it's just correct. Like try to keep them off as much mana as possible so they can't like cantrip, end. Okay. Pretty nice. I mean, the Wasteland start was really big. I'm going to quickly go to the bathroom. I'll be back in a second. Hey, Vegeta. Yeah, Mum and Scrib did a lot of work. My only thought is Flusterstorm. Like Flusterstorm to like try to like be like Mother of Runes 5 and 6 in a way. But I'm not sure what you would cut for it. And I'm not sure if it's worth it. I think I'm pretty happy just running back what we have here. This is definitely a matchup where it's nice to have double forest and plains. We've seen how aggressive our opponent is on Wasteland as well, so yeah, I think we just run it back. Flush is just a little bit tricky with like holding it up. I want to see some fetch lands. This is a pretty nice hand. Yeah, pretty happy to keep this. Turn 1 Mum off plains. We also have swords as removal. Wasteland as well, which is cool. Alright. This is easily, for me, Wasteland drop. Even if they don't shuffle here. Just to buy like a little bit of time. Maybe draw into another fetch land. I don't believe we have any fetch lands that don't, yeah. Like, yeah. Real good. Like some decks play Marsh Flats in Maverick, so if you have a Marsh Flats, you might want to wait to see if you draw that to then fetch the plains with Marsh Flats and have the Windswept Heath for... That's definitely interesting, but I still like... This actually changes some things, because like if we go turn 1 basic, we can't Wasteland and then play another 1-drop on turn 2. Because if we go Plains Mum, untap Wasteland, have Plains open, we can't play the Noble. If we go basic into Forest into Noble and then have Forest and Wasteland around, we can't play Mum. So they didn't shuffle on Ponder, but I'm still pretty happy to set them back. Like the last thing I want my opponent to do next turn is double spell. This also gives me enough time to try to figure out if I can draw another fetch land to go basic. Dried up, but probably the worst draw. I'm still pretty happy to go. They can't have Bolt and Wasteland on the same turn. So I think I might just play the Savannah here and build out my mana. No Wasteland, that's kind of cool. Green Suns. Interesting that they played the basic island. If they had a Volk, would they have played it? Maybe they're waiting for me to actually play something like Mum so they can actually get value out of the Volk in case I have Wasteland. Hey Noon, thanks for the follow. Hope you're well. Submerge. That's fine. I don't mind drawing that. Oh, they're brainstorm locked. Okay. And it doesn't get forced. Wow. Alright, they dig one deep, put two back, draw. Okay, so they dig two deeper with this brainstorm. Put three back, then draw one for turn. You still have two on top. No, yeah. Put two back and then you draw one for turn, so you still have one on top that you know about and then two fresh. Alright, well they're still brainstorm locked. They go after that. Okay. Tundra. I could slam Knight. I kind of like Green Suns here. I would love to be able to Green Suns. Jidei's also pretty nice, but Jidei's awkward in the face of another Wasteland. My thought was Green Suns for Scrib Ranger. Start building Hex Drinker. I believe we cited out Hex Drinker. Yeah. Which is perfect in this state, but without the Mum, it's definitely a lot less lucrative. There's a world where Knight here isn't the worst. I actually think like slamming the Knight is pretty nice. Because even if they have days, they're like back another land. Still no land. Okay, so they're brainstorm locked again? Wasteland. Alright, so here I'm pretty happy to go. Green Suns for Bird. Oh, for Scrib Ranger. Play Bird. Hey, Northern Angel, welcome. Now we're in a really nice spot. We also know they're brainstorm locked, which is nice. All right. We know about one bolt in hand. This has to be end, right? They see the Volk. DRC, wow. I think here I start with Jide. Ooh. I'm actually going to go, I'm going to use the Wasteland this turn. So let's go. I'm going to keep the Dryad Arbor around as well to make sure we have double Mum activation if needed. So we have 11 minutes here. So if I return the Savannah to untap the Dryad Arbor, there's a world where they can like Wasteland the Dryad Arbor, which we can save, but then like second main ending. But I don't really need the mana next turn either, so there isn't actually a bad point about bringing the Dryad Arbor back to hand. So I think we go green, untap this, return this. Equip. I will hit this. And now I get to attack for 2. And then I'm happy to kill the DRC right now. Replay the Dryad Arbor? Yeah. So the Jitter counter saves Scribranger from like end the festivities, and then we have double Mum activation with Scribranger, which is pretty cool. So if they attack here, I'm not going to do anything. But they don't attack either, which is pretty good for us. Okay. Didn't really expect that. Does it increase the clock? Hey, Just, welcome. Oh, we also have Uro? Yeah, okay. Pretty happy to attack first. Maybe it's like Brazen Burrow or bounce the Jitte is their plan? Yeah. Pretty happy to pump. Is that better than 2 life? Yeah, I think it is. Just to keep that damage going. Blue. Blue. Green, green. Uro. Land, 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 land. I'll keep a knight in the bin. Actually, I'm going to keep a wasteland. 1, 2, 3. For Ramanap. I'm not sure if I want to overcommit to an end the festivities. I think I'm okay with having the noble in hand. Knight. But now things change a little bit. I think actually, yeah, I'm okay with this. Like now it's really tough for them. But yeah, I think if I thought that out a little bit more and actually knew what I was going to do before attacking, playing the extra hierarch does make sense. All right. We get there against Blue Red Delver, which is really nice, especially after that game 1. Kind of felt like that was going to be pretty tough. Twitch is being weird tonight, keeps going out of sync and needs a reload. Ah, is anyone else experiencing that? Hopefully not. All right. Kozaka. Hey, Professor. Yeah, 5-0 dream on course, but a dream nevertheless. This is a pretty sweet hand. We have mana acceleration off basics. We have a creature for non-FedEx and Jide for FedEx. So pretty happy to keep this. It fixes when you're on 5. Cool. Cool. Opponent goes to 6. Ivugan. Oof. Okay. Pretty happy to just go turn 1 Noble. And then I think next turn I might even just get the Uro into play, but we'll see what we draw. I don't want to see Thought Knot. Oh, they don't have Thought Knot? That must mean they have a Smasher hand, right? In that case, because usually Eldrazi is going to keep a 6 that either has turn 1 Chalice, turn 2 Thought Knot, or turn 3 Smasher with a Mimic. And I think because Thalia locks us out of Jide, it's probably best to go with Uro this turn. This allows us to put a creature into play through Dryad Arbor. Or get Mum into play. Mum's not really relevant, but she can attack. Dryad Arbor at least plays around Wasteland, but if their turn next turn is... I guess if they have like Spirit Guide, Smasher, play Wasteland, we get stung. I think it might actually just be Mum. But getting the Dryad Arbor online as well as a mana source is pretty crucial. I think that's actually the play. What you got, opponent? Dismember is definitely a card I should think about as well in the 75, if not the main deck. There's Temple. Oblivion Sower? Jeez. They hit Wasteland, of course they do. Yikes. Yep. I would have done this post-combat to see if I even block, but each to their own. Alright, ooh, Knight's actually pretty nice. I think this turn is just going to be Knight and Mum. No real value in Mum, other than just being a chump blocker. But I think Knight's just too far to pass up. Being a 5/5 is relevant though, because of Dismember. It also can't trade with it can trade with a Smasher, but can't kill a Smasher and survive. Mum also is fodder for Uro, which is quite nice. But this is cool. I haven't seen Oblivion Sower in Legacy Eldrazi in a long time. I haven't seen Legacy Eldrazi in a long time, probably since Prismatic Ending got printed, which kind of hit the case of Chalice, which Eldrazi does rely on to some extent in having a place in the format, but cool to see. I mean, Eldrazi as a take is very cool. I remember Eldrazi Winter in Modern was pretty horrendous, but oof. Ooh, Blast Zone? Jeez. Far out. Alright. That's definitely an issue. I think we're just blocking like this, and then trying to put an extra... I guess we can put a fetch land into the bin next turn, or just draw Tundra. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they definitely Blast Zone next turn. We're playing the Tundra. This is really good. Only one wasteland in the bin for us. I guess I can float. Could also draw a card. I don't really want to use the knight, that's the issue. I guess I could keep the noble up. Like, if we use that, we have... I believe here we have to use the knight to get the Uro into play. Because we need to get a 4th thing in the bin, and we can't like use a mana to canopy because then we have 3 left over. Still have to use the knight. I don't think we're going to be able to get in with Jide this turn. My question is, if we cast Uro this turn and keep up the Noble Hierarch, can we take the damage if they make Uro unable to block? Because then they also have Blast Zone for the Noble Hierarch, but there's a world where that keeps them off the ability to actually cast a big threat to make them Mimic big enough. But I think gaining 3 is also pretty relevant. So I think it is just green, blue, sack this, go and get... Like, I could also take them off the Blast Zone and keep the Hierarch as a chumper. No, because I need the blue, which would tap the Hierarch anyway. I think I just get another fetch here and then drop. Go to 8, then go to 11. Yeah. Row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, keeping the Dried Arbor. And I think we just pass here. I guess I could play the Thalia as well. Maybe that's okay. There is a world where Jide is just what I want, but having the extra blocker is nice. Ah, Smash is just, yeah, GG. Because we're at 10. Yeah. Tough. Not too bad post board. Night of Autumn, Paths. Mums can come out, Thalias can come out. Oof can most likely come out. Sylvan Library. I don't think like Mums just for Dismember is worth it. Wandering's pretty cool. I think Wandering's pretty sweet in this matchup. Endurance isn't the worst, but like Force of Vigor is definitely interesting. But It's mainly for Chalice, but we have like multiple ways to get around Chalice, I guess. There's a thought for like just an extra endurance. I'm gonna bring in 1 force, 1 endurance. I guess the Jide is really our only way to oof. In case they have like walking ballista, I might want it. Hey Elo, welcome. Currently 1-0 in the league, which is nice. Up against Blue Red Delver. Currently down a game against Eldrazi aggro. I am going to keep the library. And maybe it's Nissa. Let's just bring in Nissa, especially on the play. I don't mind that. Go more mid-range. I guess there's a world there. I guess Dry Dabble was already in the bin. I was going to say we could have held up Knight, played Thalia, and then also held up like Knight fetch for Dry Dabble, but Sand seems great. Keep this. Turn 1 Wasteland, or turn 1 Acceleration into Wasteland is pretty cool. And then also just get Dry Dabble off the Green Suns. Yeah, really nice to get the Delver win. Game 2 was pretty interesting. They wastelanded us 3 times in a row. Which was pretty solid. It's pretty good. Ancient Tomb's probably the card that I want to hit the most, which is nice. Ooh. I still think Wasteland here. And then go for... Doesn't really matter if I go for Bird or not. I think just getting another Hierarch is fine. Okay. Getting aggressive. Wasteland. That's a pretty good draw, let's be honest. You can have your cavern. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, like, honestly, we could Uro there and then have access to 4 mana with Uro is still in play, and then put in Jedi, equip Jedi, attack with Knight. So, like, that's the start you want. Alright, so we saw Eldrazi Mimic. Didn't see too much sideboard. I think on the draw, just because of like the amount of 1-drops we have, I don't mind bringing in the extra Force of Vigor and taking out the Nissa just for the Chalice starts, which I assume they have on the play. Like, Chalice isn't like a be-all end-all for Mav, but it really puts a lot of pressure on us having an answer or trying to like draw out of it, which can be pretty tough for a deck like Eldrazi. The only issue is like the Force of Vigor hands where they don't actually have Chalice or an artifact or enchantment. And this is the kind of hand, but I don't think this is a keep. I think it's just a little bit too top heavy, where their aggressive starts we just don't really have anything. We don't even have a 3rd land for Knight or a way to get it out quick. So I'm pretty happy to mulligan this. This is better. We also have an answer for Chalice, which is great. So I'm going to keep this. But now it's interesting. I feel like it's Mana Dork Bird, because if they have Chalice, we have turn 1 land, turn 2 Prismatic ending it. I guess we do, because we can just use Wasteland's mana to cast it above Chalice. And then it still just exiles it because we put white into it. I think it's Bird here. I think Noble's the better. Creature. And like, if they don't do anything, it's turn 1 Noble. So, yeah. This also kind of gives us 2 knights in our hand as well. City. Well, that's a great Wasteland target. Could do it in upkeep to play around like Warping Way or something to create a 1/1, but that makes me think they have a Tomb or an Eye, but no catch up. I really hope they have a single mana here, not a dual mana land for Thought Knot. Okay. Oh, Spectral Contortion. Interesting. Okay. I think in that case, I'm happy to... build out my mana again, as this allows me to hopefully get Knight down next turn as a 6/6, which beats Reality Smasher. Cavern. It's pretty good. I guess if we got Birds of Paradise, we could have Prismatic Endinged for 4, and maybe there's a world where that is correct. Wow, second Thought Knot? Jeez. Do they take the Prismatic and leave us with the ability to Script Ranger back Dryad Arbor as a blocker? They do. Well, that at least buys some time. But this is also one of those draws that, like, if they just have, like, Smasher, it's just over. Oh, they let us block? Ah. Yeah, because they can just... But that's fine. Oh, no, because this is part of the cost, so they have to wasteland now. So they should have wastelanded before blocks, because returning the forest is part of the cost. So they can't respond to me activating it. So I actually should have played the script first, and that way, like, even if they did wasteland the Dryad Arbor, then we would at least get it back for another turn. Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. All right. If I need a Green Suns at any point, it's right now. Contortion. Come on, Green Suns. Come on, Green Suns. Come on. Come on. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get back into this game. It's definitely not over. You just gotta believe sometimes. The tough part is, though, that I do need to start just keep drawing gas. Yeah. Okay. Alright. What do we want? I would love another Green Suns. Uro is probably a pretty nice draw to also just take our life total above. But Swords to Plowshares is also a fantastic draw, because we can take out a knight, draw a card, and then see what we draw into. So I think, actually, Swords to Plowshares is actually probably the best draw we can get, but, like, land isn't that bad either. I'm pretty happy to just play the Verdant, and then trade it away in their end step, hopefully, for Horizon Canopy and just draw an extra card. If I play the Dried Arbor now, they probably just wasteland it in my turn, and then I don't really get value off it because I don't want to tap the Knight in my turn. There is a risky play of attacking there for 8. Like, maybe that's where I needed to be, but... Oh, they're attacking? I'm definitely blocking. They must have Dismember? Contortion doesn't do it. Green. I can put 1, 2, 3, 4... I can put 4 lands in the bin. So Dismember does not kill the knight, and it does still kill the... Oh, okay. Yeah. So this becomes a 1/1. And now we can fetch here. Get a Trop. And then... sack a forest. Get a Wasteland. And then Wasteland myself. To make this a 5/5 again. Wasteland's pretty good. Alright, we get a draw. Oh, are they just dead? They're just dead! They're just dead on the swing back! They're just dead on the swing back! Oh! Oh, so good. So good. Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Gotta love Knight of the Reliquary. In Knight we trust. In Knight we trust. Very cool. Oof. Nice. I was definitely very scared there. Nice. But yeah, crazy, because like normal Knight math is +3 is the most, where you can sack a land, wasteland yourself for 3. But luckily there with the fetch land, it's a +4, which is pretty cool. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Man. Tough. Ban is for cowards. Hey, Lalagoif. A huge thank you for the Prime sub. 3 months is very cool. Thank you very much. I hope you're doing well. What's been happening? At your end step. Okay. That was cool. Opponent node for playing Madness. If you can't make it 2020 on turn 2, I'm not interested. Classic. I'm going to keep this. It has mana, it has removal, it has protection, and I have a pretty high chance of drawing into a threat. Street Zenith. Maybe it is Madness. Okay. Mardu Cube. I've seen that online. Definitely looks interesting. I'm not a big fan of Cube, but that does look pretty sweet. Volk. Interesting. Oof. So they get a turn 1 holo one. Yikes. Hey, Jamie. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Hope the van is slowly going strong as well. Blazing. Alright. Oh, they're going to anger into the bin as well. So they get at least one holo one here. Okay. This is a pretty big yikes. I think just from a damage perspective, probably getting the mum online is better than anything else. This becomes a +2/+0. So mum blocking, giving pro red does just kill it, which is kind of cool. But this is gonna be tough. Yeah, Once Upon a Time is pretty sweet in Legacy. Sees play in Legacy Elves. It's probably where you'd see it the most. Sees a little bit of play in Maverick from time to time, which is pretty cool. Discard Root Waller. Yeah, this is like the kind of like just go off kind of starts, which is pretty tough. Please don't have anything else good. Because at least we can take out the Putrid Imp and the Basking Root Waller. Is there a world where I actually just block here? Because the extra 3 is pretty big. Because if I don't block here, I take 3, 7, 8, 9, go to 6. I untap. I have Mum for this, and then Prismatic. But then the holo one is a 2-turn clock. If I trade the Mum here, I take 6 and go to 9, and then deal with these 2, and then this is a 3-turn clock. I think I just trade here. I think the 3 damage is pretty huge. And it is just +2/+0, so they can't actually save it, which is kind of nice. Okay, that's tough. See if they discard anything. An Ox? Yikes. 4, 8. Maybe then I can survive with this Prismatic. Hey, McSalmon, a huge thank you for the Prime sub. 7 months. Yes. Keep it going. Thank you very much. Hope you're well. What have you been up to? Is this just Faithless Looting flashback? It's probably Ox, right? Ox, hold up Volk. Discard 1, draw 3. Yikes. So at least for this matchup, we do have the Endurances and Paths. But that's it. But I sadly don't think we even have an out. Because even if we block the Ox, we take 5 and go to 4. And then the holo one is just lethal by itself. So even if we drew Swords to Plowshares and had an out for Root Waller and Ox, wouldn't really mean anything. Yeah, definitely tough with the start they had. The anger really changes things. Okay. Library definitely out. A little bit too slow. Questing Beast is interesting. I don't mind Questing Beast because of the amount of removal we bring in and ways to disrupt their graveyard plan. Oof does turn off LED, but that's about it. I think having our own Jide online is better. Thalia doesn't do a whole lot. But I don't mind one. Like, the first strike is actually not too bad. Hexes a 4/4 is pretty sweet. Knights and Uros are pretty strong. Ramanap's pretty good, even as like the body of a 2/3. Could just be like Outland Liberator. I don't mind that. I think that's pretty good. Being on the play is definitely better. There is a world where like Knight of Autumn isn't too bad because of Hollow One. Like going down on potentially... Maybe it is the Beast because we have the Uros. I think that's fine. Mum's good, swords, G8. Script range is a little bit meh, but Script range allows us to do things like block with Dried Arbor Return on Hollow One, which is pretty cool, or like another big creature. But definitely a tough one. But hey, a huge thank you to you guys for coming and watching. If you want to find me on YouTube, you can find me here. You can find me there on twitter.com. You might have heard of it. And of course, Green Sun Zenith. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty happy with this. Turn 1 Noble. Turn 2 potentially Uro and Swords, or just Knight. Some of the older versions of Jund Madness, you might see Hogak, but I think a lot of decks have moved away from Hogak and more towards things like Ox, or just having a more like complete mini shell, the sort of lower CMC spells. So like, I don't think Karakas actually is that relevant in this matchup, but it is just a white source, which is kind of nice. All right, opponent mulligan to 6 cards. The nice start about a mana start as well, or mana acceleration start, is Burning Inquiry can definitely screw up a hand. So making sure that I have mana to untap with is pretty huge. Because there's nothing worse than like being on the draw, turn 1 Inquiry, discard 3 lands, and then untap and you just have spells. It's just like, well, that is pretty busted. All right. Don't try to make me play blue. What is this? I wonder if they play Gutshot. I definitely know they play... Chat will help out with this. It's a red mana spell. I think it's like 1 red. It's like Firestorm. It's like discard cards and that deals X damage to creatures based on how many cards you discarded. Or something similar. Firestorm. There we go, Northern Angel. Red instant, and as an additional cost to cast this spell, discard. Oh, they have the Vengevine. They have LED? Ah, okay. Tough. At least no anger. That's a good start. Oh gosh. Okay. Yikes. Yeah, the tough thing about Outland Liberator, and the reason that I took it out, is that it would mean we have to cast nothing on our turn, next turn, which is pretty huge. I kind of want to play the Knight to make sure we have access to most likely Cradle next turn. Yeah, no Force of Vigor. Didn't really expect a start like this. I thought it might be something like the... yeah, I think sadly it's just Knight Pass as a 2/2. Tough. Green Suns for Arbor, Plow, and Noble. That's another good use of mana. It also gives us access to a lot of mana next turn. Can I get Uro in? Can I trade the Trop away for... go up to 7? Then I lose the Knight? Yikes. I think I have to just play Bird and then go for Wasteland myself, which is pretty tough. Having Sword open. Knight's a 5/5, which is kind of nice. Don't be Firestorm. Come on. Come on. Tough. Yeah, like the only out is swordsing our own Knight after blocks. Which is terrible, because then we have to sack a land as well. Yeah. Yeah. Tough. Not too much we could do. Maybe respect Hollow One and bring in Force of Vigor. It's just tough because it's such an aggressive matchup that if they don't have the Hollow Ones and you have the Force of Vigors, then the mulligan is a huge factor. Tough. Hey Reap, welcome. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing as like, you know, Maverick having like turn 1 Noble into like Thalia Wasteland and like Wasteland something else, so. You gotta take the wins with the losses. And to be fair, it's kind of cool to see a Jund deck like that kind of go off, because it shows that there are some like pretty cool things to do with creatures in the format. Like pretty fair when it comes to it. Like I know with Depths, it's a fantastic matchup because they don't really have interaction with a 20/20. Some lists run Runafowl in the sideboard, but that's really it. So the dream is over, but we have one challenge remaining, and we can still try to finish this on a high and build out the list from there, so not too unhappy. But tough. Maverick Joe. Too kind. I'm out of words to say, but a huge thank you. A huge thank you for the challenge. A huge thank you for the gifted subs. Too kind. Yeah, I think maybe Force of Vigor is something I should look at more. A full one would be very cool. And Mangork, thank you for the inspiration on the list as well. Very cool to see you here. All right, we're on the play, which is nice. And we have an okay hand. Pretty happy to keep this. Turn 1 fetch, hold up swords. Turn 2 Thalia, turn 3 knight. Off basics as well. Pretty cool. Nice. Too kind, Joe. Too kind. All right, let's get some. Oh. Probably turn 1 Elvish Reclaimer if I'm going to say Windswept Heath. Oh no. Oh, okay. Still pretty good. Pretty happy just to keep their mana on a low. Beast. Going for basics here because if it is like a knight deck, I definitely don't want to get wastelanded off my own knight. Plains. Okay. Could be like a BANT deck. No, it is going to be Reclaimer. Okay. I'm happy to play the Tundra out here. It's a free attack. Thalia and Ice, because it also keeps them from swordsing in their turn, as well as playing the Reclaimer. Yeah, too kind, Joe. Too kind. A huge thank you. Big shout out to Joe and his kids. I know his kids watch the stream as well, so your dad is a very cool man. The snow-covered basics are interesting. It kind of makes me feel like they might be playing like Field of the Dead in the 75. Plateau. Knight. Okay. Trop. I kind of like just getting Beast down here. Even though I know they have access to to Caracas, and then maybe even just take them off the plateau. Maverick community is great. I definitely could be more active in the Discord where like the community is. But yeah, it's a great place. A lot of people who are just like willing to help out, give feedback. A lot of people who want feedback as well, which is cool. I feel like there's definitely some players who don't like feedback, or definitely like to just like do what their thing is. But I feel like Maverick, like the deck is very much to like tweak and play around with, and you know, no two lists are very similar or exact 75s, which is always really cool. Natural Caracas. Uro is pretty sweet. I think we go like... Ooze. Because I want to be able to like cradle for 4 mana if possible. What they could also do is, if we wasteland here, they could sack it to Reclaimer. So I will attack with the beast. They get flagstones. Yeah, I should have actually... I guess I could have got the extra mana off Cradle by doing all of this in my main phase, when they, or attack phase when they return Questing Beast, but... I think I'm still happy to do this now. And then just hold up Knight here until end step. Yeah, having to buy the endurances can be a real bummer, for sure. Wow, library? Okay. This is fantastic for us. Eat. Caracas. See if we get to untap with it. Probably not. They probably go for Wasteland here. But now they're taking a ton of damage. I would have held up the extra green so they couldn't use flagstones to ramp. It's not... I don't believe you can, like, stop that with ooze. Unless I'm thinking of something else. I'm pretty happy to jam here. Like, they have to lose the Reclaimer here, which is nice. They don't have Bojuka Bog open. Yeah, it only works with Leyline because Flagstone says when it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield. So, Rest in Peace, Leyline the Void do stop it. Oh, they have an Endurance. That's fine. A little bit annoying, but not too bad. We still get, like, the Cradle back in the deck, which is cool. And then we can also eat their Endurance if we want to. I'd probably rather play the Noble out. Yeah, unfortunately by the time you get priority with the Ooze, the Flagstone's already gone from the battlefield to the graveyard. Okay, so they pay for nothing, which is fair. They're at 8. Swords and Wasteland are the two things here that together could be really strong. Swords on Knight, Wasteland the Trop, and then leave us with just the Noble in the Plains. Interesting. Maze is fine. Interesting. I don't really want to get that arrow into the bin because of Bajuka Bog. I'm pretty happy just to Questing Beast here for 5. We know it can't be mazed, which is nice. Yeah, so what's happening here, unfortunately, is pretty funny, but so Mazavith says, untap target attacking creature, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to and by that creature. But Questing Beast says, hey, combat damage that would be dealt by creatures you control can't be prevented, so you can target Questing Beast with Mazavith, but it won't prevent damage. So they still take 5 here. Which is pretty cool. Chicken, you are more than welcome. I'm not sure what I want to Wasteland, if anything. I think just in case they're going for the combo, I'd rather just hold up the Knight, but... see what they grab. Their own Wasteland. That's going to be okay, because we can just play around the Wasteland by having Knight open, which is cool. Hey, Legacy Council, too kind. Good to see you. For anyone in chat who's looking for some Blue Mage action in Legacy, definitely check out Legacy Council. Very good streamer. Interesting. Surely they have Swords to Plowshares. Speaking of... you can try to maze it. Wow, like they could have blocked with the Knight. They're the ones we take. Definitely the ones we take. Okay. I really like trying out a mid-range plan here. Collect oof. I do like the extra parts. I don't mind the Planeswalkers. The Hex is interesting, but Blast Zone... no, Blast Zone's not in the deck. Well, it sometimes is, but I think Hexdrink is actually okay. Knight's Endurance, Ramanap, Scrib, Outland Liberator, Library. Like, this is actually pretty sweet. I kind of want to make room for like another Endurance and like a Force. Or the Knight of Autumn. I think actually the Knight of Autumn is better than the Outland Liberator, just because it is a 2-for-1. Like, my opponent at some point has to deal with the Knight of Autumn. Second Uro probably isn't worth it, but like the first one getting bogged and then the second one not getting bogged is kind of big, so I don't mind that. Beast we saw there is just so powerful. I might just try this. I think it's definitely worth considering endurance or force, but we're pretty well equipped already that the extra walkers are just kind of cool. Ooh, a one-lander. I'm not a fan of keeping a one-lander. This is a match where I really just want to be making my land drops every turn, so I want to have like probably at least 2 lands. And if I only have 2 lands, I want a mana accelerant. We have 2 lands. A lot of removal, to be fair, and knights, so I actually don't mind this. Probably bottoming just 1 knight. Nice. No Mox Diamond's pretty huge. This I'm happy just to... Prismatic? I could just swords it. I don't mind swordsing because then we have the prismatic ending for something like Sylvan Library, which next turn would be huge because we have no pressure. We also have Path for Knight, so I think that's okay. I'd love to see like a Green Suns for 1 here. Nice. Perfect. Safekeeper. Okay. Well. They do get like a free go off this, which is a little bit tough, but kind of feel like we need to. Definitely tough though. I think I want to save the path here. But this is definitely an issue. Wasteland, okay. Knight. Our knight will be bigger, which is nice. Oh, Wandering Emperor? Yes. Hell yes. This is tough because the combo is pretty fresh. Swords. Okay. So over 2 turns, the Safekeeper can definitely, yeah. 2 mana. Sack and go. Okay. Now we're in a tough spot with these forests though. It's just going to be a pass. Yeah, unfortunately. Because they can float 2, get stage, copy Dark Depths, and then have like Safekeeper with 3 outs. Kind of hope they sack the forest. I don't think they will. That's probably the issue they could have. Sure. Oh, we're at 21 though, so we'll see how they attack. I guess they attack with everything, right? Yeah, if they attack with everything. There is a world where we could like Script Ranger, put in Marit Lage, they sack this for protection, but... I think that was Mark. Mark's been playing around with 4 color, which is very cool to see. Tough. Safekeeper is really strong. But I don't really want to change anything. Yeah, they didn't keep Knight for step, which is interesting, but it's pretty tough for me to have outs there. I guess it could be like Scrib Ranger block and then Endurance to take 3. But then they still have the land left over to sack to like eat up the prismatic ending, so pretty tough. But yeah, honestly, I think I should have just pathed right after I went off with the pretty cool hand. I should have gone with path right after I cast prismatic ending. Yeah, Council Judgment's pretty cool. I like that he gets around Kappa, which is pretty awesome. It could be there over Path to Exile as just like a more broad way to deal with any sort of permanent, which is pretty cool. And to be fair, like Path is pretty awful in the early game. Like if we have like Path as our removal spell and our opponent plays Reclaimer, it's just like a weird kind of setup. Green Suns. Ooh. Ah, gives us access to 2 mana. Okay, that's definitely interesting. Scrib allows us to get like 2 free mana, but I don't think we can Uro. Definitely interesting. How was wondering Emperor Beam? We've drawn it once and haven't cast it once. But I think it's pretty cool. I think it's cool because you can cast in your opponent's end step, which is really cool, especially against like BANT decks. Path is mainly for Regent, correct, yeah. So CJ wouldn't be too bad, because usually you have the mana online by that time. I think I will use Scrib here. Untap this, return this, play this, and then ramp as well. And even if they try to wasteland this Stride Arbor, we can save it with the Scrib, which is pretty sweet. Like, that's a pretty cool turn too. It kind of feels like elves kind of vibes there. Knight is fine. This is where like swords would be like perfect. I think here I'm pretty happy just to get Beast online. It kind of holds up the Knight. Uro is definitely interesting, but we're not really at a spot where that's relevant. Yikes. Natural. That's twice now. Alright. I'm gonna start with... Uro. We can even just return it to our hand, which is kind of cool. See what we draw first. We drew the swords, which I don't want to use right now because they can go and get Sajiri Step. So I'm pretty happy just to return Uro here. Nice. Uro is pretty free with Scrib, which is cool. But I kind of want to keep Scrib up for the mum. Make them use the Caracas. They remove it. And then... Have I played a land for turn? I haven't played a land for turn because I played the Windswept Heath through the Uro. So I can untap, return, play this, and then have open swords. We get a little bit hard done by through crop rotation. I kind of hope they get stage and copy one of their basics. Oh, they're going to crop now as well. Oh, they're going to go like this. This is interesting that they're not holding up green mana, because it means they can't crop for Sajiri Step now. So I'm pretty happy just to hit the knight right now. I think I would have been a little bit more hesitant if they kept up green there. I could have also attacked with Scrib. Yeah, it is a pretty tough spot for my opponent. They've obviously just got a hand of no real threats. The Uros and Beasts are answered by the Karakas, but at the same time, Uro just drawing a card and gaining 3 each turn is pretty sweet. It's kind of like a reverse Sylvan Library in a way. Yeah, without something like Plague Engineer, Sylvan's Safekeeper can be pretty rough. Alright. The fries and steak are ready just to watch another Legacy match. Nice. Yeah, this version's been sweet. Big shout out to Magthork. I always get the name wrong. Magthrock? Magthrock. Yeah. Some small tweaks, just like personal stuff, but the list is solid. We haven't really had a Hex Drinker line yet, but I feel like Hex could be really cool in this. Alright. Up against Granham. Lol. Okay, this is gonna be Death and Taxes. And sadly, it's gonna be a mulligan. Like, the one mana accelerant is in our hand that we can get to, so. This hand isn't great either, but is there a better 5? I think there's a better 5, let's be honest. Like, this hand is really not doing a whole lot. Alright, I guess it's turn 1 bird. Keep bottom. I mean, turn 1 bird, then double mum is insane. So it's between the Outland Liberator and the Uro. The Uro gets us back a little bit. I think it might be the... It might actually just be the Outland and the Uro. Sav. Bird. Plains. Mum. Okay. A land here would be perfect. Oh, not what I want. I do need to get rid of that mum though, because this deck doesn't really have ways to deal with it otherwise. Yeah, Stoneforge here is brutal, especially for Kaldra. Oh, they get Jide? Okay. Try to get through this. I feel like that means they already have Cauldron in hand. Like, surely that means they have Cauldron, unfortunately. I guess with their own mum, they can definitely get Jade online as well, which is pretty brutal. We have to draw, like, green suns here. That doesn't do it. I guess they can only give pro white or green, so we're still, like, Jade isn't the be-all end-all here. They kind of have to give pro green if they did attack, because we could go like pro white, block. Or block, pro white. There's not really a great attack here, which is good for us. We get another turn to try to draw into something. They attack. I guess if we block with more than one mum, they just give pro anyway. But then we do tap the mum. So if we block with mum, and then give each mother pro white, we then still have one mum left over to save from like a sword plowshares. We can't beat like swords and solitude, but at least two mums blocking makes them have to use their own mother of runes. So I think our block has to be like try to get that mum, because then Jade off the top for us is live. Okay. This is fine. So we just get pro white. And this one pro white. Okay. Grainham is also a streamer, and a really cool streamer. I've been watching him recently, which is cool. Alright, this is the big draw. This is the big draw. Oh, pretty cool. Not the greatest, but it does get damage going. Can I get some questing beasts in chat? You don't actually need to give the second one pro white, do you? No, that's very true, Fox, because they only have one damage to... Yeah, that's very true. I didn't need to. So that does put me in a position where they could have like swords and solitude as outs to get rid of one. Oh, I guess because if I give pro before... No, I'm not sure. Because solitude's fine. I think I hold this. I think this is better as unknown information than a land in the field. What is the out here for my opponent? Like, even a Flickerwisp as a flyer with the Jide doesn't do anything because we have the Birds of Paradise. I think it's Kuldra. I think Kuldra Race is kind of the go. They're just trying to get as many Solitudes as possible. They assign blocker order, and then whatever happens to the first one happens. It doesn't magically carry over. Even if the Stoneforge had trample, the 1 point would still need to be assigned. Okay. Yeah, Kaldra's the big one here that I'm kind of scared of. Canopy. That's worth playing. And it's worth drawing here. I guess that's the one draw that does punish me for not playing a land last turn. In case I draw into like a Green Suns, I can't Green Suns for like a Outland Liberator and then also hold up mana for dealing with Jide. They're definitely close to just like attacking and then chaining Solitudes together to get rid of Mothers. If they like attack before giving protection as well, we just have block with Questing Beast and then, yeah, like block with Questing Beast. See what happens, and now I can even just return it to hand. I don't even have to use the mums here to initiate anything. And then because it has haste, it's still just getting in, which is cool. Because we know they have 2 Solitudes. And I'm going to assume with 6 cards in hand, they have 2 white cards to pitch as well. Alright. We'll start. Thankfully as well, damage can't be prevented from me, so even if I play Questing Beast next turn and they block with Skyclave and give Pro, the Pro doesn't work. So we still kill the Skyclave if they try to block with it. Cool first game, I will say. Especially for a 5, it's definitely worked out in a way that was quite nice. It can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Okay, I thought it was power 2 or greater. There we go. The old not too sure what Questing Beast says moment. All right. Pro white. Yeah. Someone in the Discord did post a Japanese one, which is hilarious. Ending on Jide is interesting, but I don't think we need it. I think here it's just a clock of... Oh, this does tap the... See, again, we did get punished here by not playing the extra land 2 turns ago, because now we can't play Questing Beast and hold up both Birds of Paradise and Caracas. I guess there's a world where we just Prismatic Ending the Jite and then just attack with Questing Beast, because then we don't need to hold up the birds or the Caracas for protection. That actually makes sense. No, it doesn't. Because we only have 5 mana. To be fair as well, like, we don't need the bird up because we have the Questing Beast for pro green, unless they have Caracas themselves. Bounce the Questing Beast, give pro white, and then attack. So I think it is just keep the bird up and play beast here. Because it also turns on Green Suns or any exalted creature as an out next turn with Questing Beast to deal 5 in a turn. I wonder if they try to initiate here with like Swords to Plowshares or Solitude? No. Okay. Because then there might be a world where we have to actually have to tap off mums in our end step and then they get to untap and attack with the Jide. but I feel like the Beast is more a winning strategy. Prismatic Ending is more don't lose. But I feel like if we go for the we win, sure. If they Swords or Solitude in response, I'm happy just to do nothing. Because this leaving before combat, or before damage, is exactly what I want, so... I didn't want to double block because I know they have double Solitude. So I don't think I need to kill or put them in a position to kill the Stoneforge because I've already tapped the Mum. What I want to do is just untap and Prismatic Ending the Jide. So all I want to do this turn is not allow this to deal damage. This also allows us next turn to potentially attack for lethal by giving a pro-white to the Mum and then having a Mum open. Especially if they don't have a 5th land for a hardcast Solitude. So they're going to do this now. Target this. Go to get pro-white. They hardcast the Solitude again. Go to get pro-white. They have a Swords. I've got to keep that around. And it, like, again, this is just one of those situations where it would have been nice to have the Caracas open, but it's fine. This is okay. Granham just said crop rotate for Sajiri step, so thankfully isn't too sure what we're on. Drop. Alright. I will be getting rid of this. Unfortunately, next turn they get a lot of ETBs. They get like another 2 creatures. Skyclave tries to take out something and Stoneforge, which is pretty tough. So like it really all comes back to me not playing that extra land, which is tough because at the time it seemed great. It seemed like a good use, but... tough. All right, Dryad Arbor. It's not what I want. Oh, they don't put in Interesting. I think I just take this. If they target Yorion, we can return it to their hand, so not too bad. We just need to get one threat into play, like a Knight of the Reliquary, and just attack just once. This is the way. I'm not going to even attack with the Dryad here. I just want to keep 3 mums back and then have that for the following turn. Yeah, we still got a little bit of game, which is nice. They're also at 4. They have 5 cards. Okay. They could attack with the Germ, to be fair. Alright. So this target this. This Skyclave is targeting the Knight, so I think here... I don't think I need this Mum during my turn. I think here I just give Pro white, and then leave these 2 untapped, and then we untap with these 2 as well. So Mum goes away. They go searching. They find a Solitude. The Germ is black. They find another Solitude. Endurance. So we know they have double Solitude, which makes the Knight a little bit rough. Because even if Mum saves herself, I then have to use Mum on Knight, Solitude in response, Knight, Mum on Knight, Solitude in response. I guess maybe there's a world where I could have mummed in response to like the second Recruiter. Definitely a tough one. Like, I don't believe I have a good attack here with the Solitudes in hand. It could potentially be Wasteland, but they surely have a land in hand. Yeah. We get the Mum back. That's what I need. They keep trying to hit the Yorion, which is interesting, because we do have an out to it in a way. I also don't want to endurance anything, because I don't want them having the Solitudes back, and I need the lands. So that's going to be an okay. And here, I'm pretty happy just to find a land that might have some sort of... I might just get Wasteland, because it hits this Wasteland. Yeah. They gotta drop a card. They drop a Vial, sure. Another Knight. I think we just try. Pro-white, Solitude, Pro-white, Solitude. Actually, no, then this one can give... Yeah, okay, so the first Mum can give Pro-black. So we go, give protection, Solitude, Mum give protection, Solitude, Mum give protection. So then it's Pro-white. Ah, no, because then the pro-white means that then the other mums don't resolve, which is interesting. So I have to try to figure out a way to be able to give pro-black to Knight before the other mums resolve. I think Scrib Ranger definitely helps here, but it's tough. Unless I just make them use the Solitudes, I don't mind that. Oh. Well, that's better. Oh, nice. No, I should have done... I should have gone for, obviously, pro-black first. Yeah, I just messed up as well. Yikes. Yeah, I should have gone pro-black and then get pro-white from the mums. But they would have had, like, Solitude anyway in response to the other two. Now they get Batterskull, which isn't too bad because we can block with Dryad Arbor and then sack the Arbor so they don't gain life. Maybe another mum? Mum. Come on, Script Ranger. Green Suns? Cradle. Evoke first, and then target. We will target. Evoke second. I wonder if I just let this go and then hold up Mum for Knight. I think that's the play. Just make them use the two Solitudes. But we do know they have Yorion, so if they draw land, then it's pretty tough. Because they have Flicker Skyclave. Oh, it says trample. Yeah, it is a problem. For sure. Pro white and pro green. Okay, we just have to take it. They go to 11. They go to 13. Yeah, now we have to get 5 lands in the bin. Hey Ramar, welcome. I think sadly that's just it. We don't have an out. We can't double waste ourselves because then the knight can't attack as well. Yeah. Tough. Alright. Thalia's out. Parts. Force. Knight. Ooze. Hex is definitely interesting. I don't mind the Hex Drinker. It might just be Ramanap. Wanderer is definitely pretty interesting though. I could see Wanderer being better than second Uro. I don't mind this. This is always interesting, but got to be a little bit more aggressive. I'll keep this. Pretty nice hand for like both turn 1 mum or turn 1 file. Didn't expect that. Pretty happy just to flood the board with creatures here. Solitude does make the Hex a little bit worse. That's definitely a reason for taking it out. if I swords here, I get 3 damage through. But then I don't have a great out for the endurance. But then I'm also not really, like, dealing 3 isn't that great anyway. Oof. Ah, the oof. Classic. Prelate. Interesting. Yikes. That's interesting. I kind of get the free attack here. They might even like block with the Mum and get pro, but I think they'll block with a 2/2 surely. Now let's get to Yori on the Jide. That's pretty tough. Yeah. Rough. Maybe just one of those hands that wasn't that great from like a 1-for-1 perspective, especially against D&T that has so many 2-for-1s. Tough. Deck was cool though. I really liked it. Yeah. I mean, there's a few little game-winning mistakes there, but overall the deck felt really solid. Hex was a little bit rough, but I can definitely see spots where Hex is really nice, especially the Mum's already out. But yeah, if anything, there's a few matches where like the mana wasn't that great, but running 23 lands and 5 mana dorks I think is fine. I think that's just variance which happens. Didn't see the walkers, but usually pretty good as well. Parts rough. I think I could move something around for the 2 parts. Maybe even try out March. That could be pretty interesting. Or Council's Judgment. March doesn't trade for a 1-drop though, for being a 1-mana spell, which is pretty nuts. You have to add another mana into it, unlike Prismatic Ending. But March being instant speed is kind of cool. But yeah, just a tough one. Some sweet games though, especially against Eldrazi. That was very cool. Probably the highlight of the stream, which was nice. But we prevail. I'm gonna see who else is streaming. A huge thank you to you guys for coming in and watching. If you want to find me on Twitter or YouTube, you can find me here. Granham is streaming, which is cool. So I'm gonna send you guys over there. But a huge thank you once again to the Maverick Joe. We have one more try. We have one more try for the 5-0. So should be pretty cool to see that go. But until then, enjoy, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.